Hello, this is Dr. Seema Khaneja, and for this month, the movie of the month is called Finding Joe. It's a documentary, and the director is Patrick Salomon. It's based on the life of Joseph Campbell. And for those of you who don't know who Joseph Campbell is, I highly recommend that you watch this movie because Joseph Campbell is is someone that in my opinion, everyone should know about him. That could be my bias. But when people don't know about him, I usually say, well, have you heard of Star Wars? And everyone has heard of Star Wars. And I say, well, George Lucas was inspired by the work of Joseph Campbell. And Joseph Campbell actually mentored him as he was putting Star Wars together. So that really should get your attention because Star Wars is such a big part of most of our culture. And I have a teenage son, and it's still part of his experience. So when you see something like that come about and you learn that Joseph Campbell inspired George Lucas, for me, immediately that got me very curious. And I was introduced to Joseph Campbell in my teenage years. I think I was like in high school or early college when he was interviewed by Bill Moyers. And that's the whole thing called The Power of Myth. And so I just started to look at that more recently. And the reason I really just wanted to study Joseph Campbell more and more is because he had this way of unifying concepts so that it didn't matter whether he was studying mythology from the East or the West, Native American cultures. He found this way to see commonality. And this movie, Finding Joe, speaks to one aspect of what Joseph Campbell did, which is talk about the hero's journey, which obviously is a big motif in the whole Star Wars series. And in this movie, Finding Joe, they interview other artists, screenwriters, other philosophers, entrepreneurs, and authors. And basically, all of them talk about how no matter what mythology you look at, or even if you look at modern day parables, like the modern day movies, whether they be The Matrix or Harry Potter, or Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, Alice in Wonderland, again, the Star Wars, Spider-Man, Superman, it doesn't matter. There is a hero's journey. And Joseph Campbell talked about this hero's journey as having three parts. There is a separation where the main character needs to leave his home of origin or the environment he's in because there's a challenge that's called him, and he answers that call. And that leads to an initiation phase where he goes through many trials, many tribulations, and he really has to wrestle either with external demons or internal dragons and his own conflicts and weaknesses and whatever, and then emerge victorious. But he's not done, then he needs to return and share those gifts. So, why is this relevant to, first of all, I can speak about it from a personal perspective. As a physician, I can see how this happened for me because I was in the world of medicine and it was very respectful. I got into good medical schools, residency, was a good student, and everything seemed to fall into place. And I was in Brooklyn. I was, Park Slope, had my own apartment and six-figure income, all of that. Yet there was something inside me that really just kept nudging me that there's more, that this isn't it, that there is more potential, that there is more to healing, and I've only scratched the surface. So that was kind of my call. And so the separation was when I sort of made those steps to sort of kind of, it's almost like you're stepping up and you're just peering out of the box. You're looking out of the box, peering out of the window and saying, what else is here? And you hear something, you hear that call. And for me, it came in the form of different authors that were talking about the mind-body connection and complementary medicine. So I just studied them, whether it be Deepak Chopra, Louise Hay, or Ayurvedic medicine, homeopathy, Herbert Benson, and the whole relaxation technique, whatever it was, I was kind of hearing that they were talking about something different. So that was kind of my part in sort of that initiation. And I kind of met my own challenges because it was kind of stepping away from the expected norm of medicine at that time. This was in the 90s or so, and kind of charting your own path. And Joseph Campbell talks about this beautiful idea, which I really never understood, but it's so true, that we each have our own unique path. And he said that if you are walking your path and you see footsteps ahead of you, so like you're walking in the footsteps of someone else, Joseph Campbell would say that's not your path. He said that your path emerges with each step you lay down, with each step you lay down. And I've not really gotten that until recently, that it's like that place where we have to kind of trust our own wisdom, trust our own certainty. And there may not be outer things that tell us this is okay, but something within us compels us. And that's what it was for me, that even though all of my friends were in very traditional jobs in medicine and, doing really good work in the world, I just knew that wasn't my purpose. I knew I had a deeper calling. So the initiation, the separation, the initiation, you face all those doubts and conflicts, and I had to do that. And I had to kind of try different models for myself in terms of holistic pediatrics, and then more of an integrative medicine, and doing homeopathy, mind body medicine, all of that. And still, it was like, they were all good. They were all heroes' journeys. And we can have multiple heroes' journeys. It's not like a one thing. You can almost think of it as a circle within a circle within a circle, or maybe concentric circles, and there's some overlap. You could be having a hero's journey with respect to going through a divorce or a loss of a relationship, or there could be a hero's journey when you have to move your home from one place to another and it's all, sort of crazy. Or an illness can be another hero's journey. So a hero's journey can happen in many, many different ways. The key is that it asks of you to let go of established ways of thinking, of operating in the world, because they're not going to serve. There's something new to be learned here. And if you knew it, then you wouldn't be taking this journey, right? You just wouldn't need to do it. So it's kind of that call to adventure, and it can be scary, it can be exciting. You can have the highest of the highest and the lowest of the lows, because it's that place where everything is kind of being pushed up into awareness, and sometimes it can be very disorienting. So for me, gradually, I've come to this place that I've realized that the key to illness and the key to wellness really is for me, it's really a decision in the mind. It's the inner peace. And there is a process, there's a systematic way that can happen. And I feel like through all my experiences and all my studies, I love sharing that with others. That's my gift. That's what I want to share. That's what my purpose is. So it's kind of like I've come back, taken out of it what was meant for me, let go what was not. And it's authentically my journey and kind of part of me. So it's exciting because you feel this sense that, how can I say it? It's like, if there's a symphony and you were given this part to play and you're right on tune with it, there's just such a joy because you're doing exactly what you were here to do. So I invite you to consider this movie. And if you're a parent, I actually watched it with my son who is in middle school, because around that time, I would say middle school, high school, these ideas of what am I here to do? What am I about? You start to think about that. And so it could be something that you can share, probably, I would say middle school, high school kids. I think younger, it may not be appropriate, but obviously you can take a look. Sometimes you have a fifth grader who's precocious. But what's beautiful is that in this movie, they have different authors, writers, as I said, philosophers, actors, just commenting about the influence of Joseph Campbell on their lives. But they also have whatever they're sharing, at the same time it's play acted with a bunch of children. And so that's also perfect because it kind of awakens that childlike curiosity. And you know how children love to play and act, and they've got the villains and the heroes, and they're slaying dragons and all of it. So it kind of brings that in. And in the end, the dragons aren't outside of us. They're really our own conflicts, our own doubts, our own darkness, you can say our own shadow. And so for me, when someone is facing something that's life altering, life changing, and they're totally, they feel like their world's falling apart, I love to come in and be with them if they are willing to invite me, because I know that within that time of crisis, there is opportunity, because the Chinese symbol of crisis also means opportunity. And the opportunity, if taken and like you hear the call and you follow it, can leave you as you move through it with amazing gifts that you would not have had. You would have not known that you have those resources unless the challenges came to kind of really pull it out of you. So if you are inspired, please go to findingjoethemovie.com, and you can buy this movie online. You can also order it through Amazon. It's also on iTunes. And take a look, because I really believe we all have a hero's journey. And if you like this commentary and are looking for other movies that could inspire your way, you can check out other movie reviews on coachingforinnerpeace.org on the movie section. If you're also feeling called to work more deeply, that you're facing challenges that are your hero's journey, you can also check out our online learning academy, where we provide courses and tools for transformation and inner peace, shantiacademy.net. So here's to your hero's journey. May you find it. May you fulfill this mission that you are here to do. Small or big, we are all here to shine our light. And our hero's journey is a way that we can really access that light. So sending much blessings your way. Thank you. Namaste.